Two. Welcome, this is Liberty Action Network, and this is Lunch Pail and the Professor, your political psychotherapy session for the day. This is where you come to get a little distressed while you're listening to all the bilge coming out of Washington, D.C. and local politics. However,
distressed or de-stressed?
De-stressed.
De-stressed.
De-stressed, the word is. De-stressed.
I'm already distressed.
You are. You are, right. Hey, our usual viewer warning, this program is unscripted.
Damn right.
Okay. So, a big announcement we have to lead off the show. Those of you who have been watching attentively and whose memories are still intact should remember that we have the Clouseau Award that we periodically, as soon as we discover somebody, we offer that award. That award is named after the character in the Pink Panther named Inspector Clouseau, who is we honor for unintentional buffoonery. Okay, and this week, by the way, we've had our first report was our award was for Al Sharpton. I think our second award was Al Sharpton.
You won it 3 weeks straight.
You can give Al Sharpton an award every week, but this week. Our award goes, the Clouseau Award goes to Susan Rice. Now, you remember Susan Rice from the Obama administration, who told us, years ago, that the Benghazi destructive encounter,
terrorist attack,
was a terrorist attack. Thank you. Was just due to a spontaneous action based on a video.
A video. Yeah.
And of course that was proven wrong.
She was on how many shows? 5 shows?
Oh, 5 different shows. She came on and said the same damn thing, and we know that was a lie.
Mm-hmm.
We know it was a lie. Now she's back. She's back on the Sunday talk shows talking about the Sergeant Bergdahl swap for the, how could I describe them?
5 terrorist kingpins.
5 terrorist kingpins from Guantanamo. And in talking about that, she talks about Bergdahl as serving with honor and distinction. And I think I'm going to turn this over to Jim, our lunch pail over here, who will talk a little bit about why that is another lie. And I dub her one of the top serial liars in the Obama administration.
Yeah. Well, she's just a robot.
Mm-hmm.
You remember when George Bush finally attacked Saudi Arabia or Iraq? You remember Baghdad Bob?
Baghdad Bob.
Remember him?
Yes, I do.
He was out there with his colonel's uniform and all the medals and the ropes and everything. He's standing outside the airport in Iraq saying, "Everybody stay calm. Nobody has taken possession of our airport. Our airport is still open for business." Meanwhile, the U.S. Marines were all over the airport. They had it secured and locked down.
Right.
But they know that there's a certain amount of population that as long as it's like a code. You just punch in the code, and the people are like, okay.
Right, things are good.
Right. So here, Baghdad Bob just puts it out there. People are like, okay.
Right.
Susan Rice doing the same thing.
Right.
Because the culture in Washington, D.C., in the White House specifically, is a Baghdad Bob.
Right.
From the Middle East.
Right.
I believe without a shadow of a doubt that the entity that occupies the Oval Office is a Middle Eastern agent. I have no doubt. For the past 5 years, I've been watching him.
Mm-hmm.
We've all been watching him.
Mm-hmm.
We see different things, but with this release of these 5 top Taliban generals,
Right. Right.
Bergdahl is just an excuse to spring them from jail.
Mm-hmm.
This was an Islamic jailbreak. Okay? That's really what it was.
Point.
When do you ever see this hijacker in the White House ever care about a U.S. serviceman?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Benghazi, he went to sleep. We lost Navy SEALs, lost an ambassador, disconnected, went to a fundraiser the next day. He had to go to sleep. Bergdahl, completely different story. And don't you know, inside that situation is Islam? Isn't it funny that Islam is the centerpiece of this whole mess?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, are we stupid? Because if I can figure it out, you can figure it out.
Yeah. The implications
you
are so big.
I was just going to go there. You want to talk about what's going to happen now with these 5 killers on the loose now? How many U.S. service people lost their lives capturing these freaking animals?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This was a collection. These 5 guys were a collection of the biggest targets that weren't killed out there.
Right.
We captured them. We had them locked down.
Right.
But since we have an Islamic agent in the White House,
mm-hmm.
they were sprung.
The worst
they had
of the
a
worst.
celebration.
Mm-hmm.
When those guys hit the ground, they got off the planes. They had a celebration. It was a victory. It's an Islamic victory for these 5 guys and all the Taliban and terrorists around the world. They're celebrating because 5 of the big guns, the big planners of terrorist attacks around the world, have just been sprung by Barack Obama.
Yeah. Oh, but they'll be monitored closely, and if they attempt to get back into action, they will be destroyed.
Just like the 2,000 automatic weapons that were sold to Mexico that were supposed to be monitored, they lost track of the weapons.
Mm-hmm.
And weapons don't have legs, but they lost track of them. So they're going to track these 5 maniacs.
Right. Right.
In the country of Qatar.
Right. And Gutter says they'll be free to move around the country, and there'll be no surveillance by any American operatives or any American. This is a contradiction to what Obama told us, which means that you can't really trust
Baghdad Bob.
Yeah, Baghdad Bob.
But see,
he has a couple of Baghdad
Islam,
Bobs, walking around.
Islam does not respect American people, but they don't respect anybody that isn't Islamic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Well, when you see how they treat people that are not of Islam, they treat them like, in America, you'd be arrested if an American person treated a dog in a certain way, you'd be arrested. Well, that's how Islam treats other people that are not from Islam.
Like dogs.
Yeah, but in this country, you get it. Should I start over? Should we start that over?
Like dogs. Right. Like dogs?
Yeah.
Or goats.
Oh, that's a good comparison. Dogs. Excellent. Right.
I was going to say goats, but I think they like goats.
So when you look at this hijacker in the White House, how he just lies, disrespects. He disrespected the Supreme Court right to their faces in the State of the Union. Okay?
Yeah.
That's an Islamic trait. To disrespect, browbeat, no respect. I see Islam all over this guy.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, it was very interesting. If you watch that Rose Garden thing where he brings out the wife, and
how freaking bizarre was that?
Bob Bergdahl starts to talk in Pashtun. Watch Obama, big grin spreads across his face. Soon as he starts talking in Pashtun, like, oh, that's really great. That's really great. You know, and like, you want to get up and just, you know.
Mark Levin had somebody on. Oh, he had Alan West on yesterday.
Oh.
Alan West knows firsthand Islam. Alan West was in Iraq for 2 years. Alan West said that the father of Bergdahl, when he was in the Rose Garden, he opened up with an Islamic prayer consecrating the ground that he was standing on to Allah.
Wow.
Now, in a spiritual world, that's big. When you deal with spiritual things, that's big.
Yeah.
See, but this is America's problem. The American voter, they don't know about the spiritual world. That's why we're getting our asses kicked in every election. Because we're fighting with pen, paper, our feet, ringing doorbells, this and that. And we're just getting slaughtered. This is a spiritual battle. We saw it right there in the Rose Garden. There's no doubt.
Yeah. And this guy's sending out the tweets, like, I will continue to work for freeing the rest of the prisoners in Guantanamo, terrorists in Guantanamo. It's outrageous.
I wonder what this family looked like, because the mother looks normal.
Yeah.
The father and the son, they look Islamic.
Right.
I wonder what they looked like 10 years ago. Now, did they just do all of this so they can get this kid back home?
Yeah, I know what you're saying, because that's, in one way, that's what he's trying to say. You know, he grew this beard in sympathy because he saw his son growing a beard. We're on board, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, but you know what? He went overboard. He went overboard with that.
Because we're like, really?
Yeah, right.
I'm just going to cut real quick. Go ahead.
Well, I'm just going to say...
yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Say what?
I was just going to say, just to remind us that we have just for people to know, the new winner of the Clouseau Award, Susan Rice. Right? And by the way, if I label her a serial liar, if you say she's a robot, did anybody give her any information about this? Did she know anything about this before she get out and talk about he served with honor and distinction? How could you not know that? How could you not know what other fellow platoon people
This is the disrespect of the American people. Yes. It doesn't matter what it is. We're going to tell you what it is. That's their attitude.
See, I think that people like Harry Reid and Susan Rice all went to the administration school for liars.
I don't know where they went to school,
and they went for the school of liars and reckless statements.
It's evil.
They need nothing. They need nothing to back up whatever they say.
Because they don't care.
They don't care. They do not care.
They don't care.
And people are scratching their heads and like, don't scratch your head. This is purposeful. This kind of lying is purposeful.
But see, they're just punching in the code. When Susan Rice comes out and says, oh, no, this soldier, he served with honor and distinction. That's all they need to hear.
Right.
Okay, so he served with honor and distinction. That's what most of the country thinks now.
See, I don't know about that. I'm not so sure. When it gets into the military, there are people, like the VA stuff, a lot of people are up in arms about that. And when you talk about turning these people loose on the military and somebody deserting their post, and you have fellow soldiers coming out who served with him, were in his platoon, talking about what he said, what he did before he left. I mean, it's mounting. What I think is interesting, what's very disturbing, is you have some of these Pentagon heads, talking heads, coming out and trying to say, well, let's not jump to this. We don't really have any evidence. What? Your own soldiers are saying what they saw and what they heard. You don't believe your own soldiers. It's another disrespect for the military. Really incredible. Really incredible. Anything else on that before we...
This guy, Bergdorf, he was only over there for what?
Bergdahl, by the way.
9 months?
Bergdahl.
Right. He was there 6, 9 months, whatever, right? He decides to join the Taliban. Let's call it what it is.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Leaves his rifle, leaves his web gear. He takes canteen, a knife, and a compass.
Right.
Right? He goes looking for the Taliban, and they know he went looking for the Taliban because when he went missing, his platoon says, we got to go find him. They got orders to go and find him. They looked for him for 9 months. 6 lives were lost looking for this guy. 6 lives were lost looking for this guy.
And they stopped whatever they were doing. Whenever they got sighting, they stopped, changed their mission.
You know what's coming down now?
What?
Once Bergdahl went missing, joined the Taliban, all of a sudden, on these missions that were looking for him, are getting attacked from places that our troops were not expecting anybody to be.
Right, right.
You know, what does that mean?
It's a trap.
It means Bergdahl was telling the Taliban our positions, which way we're going. Al, this guy is either got to go to jail or prosecuted for treason during wartime. You know what that penalty is? It's death.
Well, unfortunately, I mean, I wish I could feel confident that that would happen, that at least he would go to trial on this. I wish I could feel confident about that.
What time are we at?
I can't. So
we're at 15.
Okay.
15 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we have a question.
What's the question?
What's the question?
If you know about unconstitutional official acts.
That's a question?
Yeah.
If we know about unconstitutional
Official acts.
Official acts.
Look at every executive order that he's ever signed, which just circumvents Congress.
Releasing
completely.
the Taliban. 5 major talents of the Taliban.
Right.
They
Never
just sprung out of jail. It was an
Never
Islamic
consulted
jailbreak.
Congress. He's supposed to consult Congress. Never consulted Congress.
And then you got people like John McCain out there. Hey, that's not right what the president's doing, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, past 6 years you've been in his corner.
Right.
You're an accomplice. Diane Franken-Feinstein is out there. Hat tip Mark Levin. She's out there. Oh, no, the president was supposed to give us 30 days notice and blah, blah, blah. We weren't.
Right.
You know what? You supported this president for the past 7 years. You're an accomplice, too. Everybody, hey,
Momentarily speechless, which is incredible.
channel, it's too big for my brain. Channel 2, 4, 7, MSNBC, CNN. All of them are accomplices for supporting and protecting this guy.
Yeah.
And we told them 5 years ago, you're going to rue the day you ever protected this guy. Now, people that are in the military now are going to be killed by the 5 guys that they just let out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know they're going right back to work.
They'll be tracking them. Come on. They'll be tracking them.
Hey, they're going to kill again, there's no doubt. That's what
Well,
they
they're-
live for. If they're not killing, they're not happy.
And by the way, according to the Pentagon and according to Chuck Hagel,
You know, it's really sad.
right, our
man.
Secretary of, what is he, Secretary of Defense, Chuck Hagel, right? Don't jump to any conclusions about Bergdahl. We don't do
More
that. We
disrespect.
don't do that in
Right.
the military.
Right.
We just don't do that.
Hey, we're not children. We know what's going on. And you don't belong in leadership position.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it's unbelievable. You know, you want to be proud of your country. You want to respect your leaders. You want to respect law enforcement.
They make it hard. They make it really hard.
They make it impossible.
Really, really.
You're going to lie to our faces like that?
Mhm.
Like we're like children? No. No. You know, some people may buy it. Some people don't.
Here's another thing that I think is unconstitutional. Laws have been identified. Oh, do you have any more on this, or do you want to move on? Okay.
It's still unfolding.
It'll still come. We'll get back to it again. But here's another talk about unconstitutional stuff and the way they slide by. You know, these people remind me. You remember that old game Slinky, the Slinky thing that used to be.
That was a game? Man, I must have played it wrong.
Oh, you didn't play it as a game. Oh, you just.
No.
Okay, you just let it slip down.
I used to go
You
down
didn't have
the stairs.
races. You didn't have any race with who gets down first.
Yeah.
For Slinky.
Yeah.
There you go. It's a game. It's called a game.
Oh.
These game concepts come slowly, but you can get them out of there. So here you go. You got Eric Holder with a new program called Choke Point. If this is not unconstitutional, I don't know what is. Choke Point is a plan to use regulatory pressure to influence banks to stop funding private enterprises that Holder and the Obama administration does not approve of. Now, who is their target? Who do you think their target would be?
American small businessmen.
It's American small businessmen, and specifically gun shops, ammunition, anything like. They also coins, right? Coins, and
You want to
and
talk
by the
about-
way, some people like this porn shops.
Yeah.
So
you want to talk about a hostile takeover of a country?
yeah, this is
You know, this is why I hold the American people responsible. With all the history books, all the history that's happened in the past 100 years, with YouTube, with the internet, information is at your fingertips.
yeah.
If you don't know what the hell is going on right now,
Mhm.
I have no respect for you. And it's freaking sad
Mhm.
how most of the country, even Republicans,
Oh yeah. Sometimes especially Republicans.
they don't have the balls to attack a Democrat
Yeah.
or a liberal. Regular Republicans attack the Tea Party
Right.
because it's truth that they can't deal with. A lot of people's minds cannot fathom the evil that we're talking about, what's being done to them. They feel the pain now. They just don't want to admit what it is.
Yeah.
And we're putting it out
Yeah.
there. Look, this is what it
Yeah.
is. And they're like, man, you're
Truth, you can't handle the truth.
Right. Oh man, we're in a lot of trouble
but
here.
this, think about this as in a raw. This is tyranny, in its most raw form, using the government to destroy private enterprise because you do not like what they're doing, and of course, gun shops are a big target for them. You know,
Oh, they're gonna.
and they just
What
shut
about
down.
that psychopath, Nancy Pelosi? Go ahead, cut. Nancy Pelosi, psychopath. Do you remember that little clip that we saw about 2 years ago? She was talking about Obamacare. She's sitting there, and this is well rehearsed. She's a freakazoid. I don't know what planet she's from. She sits there and she goes, "Well, listen, we're going to get healthcare done one way or the other. If the fence is too high, we're going to go around it. If we're going to dig it under, if we get a parachute under." I was like looking at this, like, this is a well thought out, well rehearsed, hostile takeover.
Absolutely.
Doesn't matter what the Constitution says. Doesn't matter what the Bill of Rights says. They're going to try to do what they're going to try to do. And they cannot go past a certain point as long as we're armed.
That's right. That's right.
That's the key. This country was built on the gun. It's been defended by the gun. And it's been secured by the gun. You take the guns away, it's all gone.
Wow. They're doing their best on that, and so you have people.
Yeah, they're nipping away at ammunition, high caliber rifles.
Yeah.
They're just trying to eat away like the viruses that they are. That's what viruses do. They eat away at stuff.
And since they're having trouble with that, now they go to the other thing: destroy them completely, cut off their funding, cut off their accounts, cut off their business accounts. Make sure that by threatening the banks, if you do this, we'll just audit you.
Let's put a word out. Let's put a word out to the financial community. If anybody sees this video and has direct knowledge or direct email or a memo or any kind of order from the government that tells you to target certain businesses, give us a call. What's the email address?
njrtp@optonline.net.
njrtp@optonline.net.
Or
you can email me, campusteaparties@yahoo.com.
campusteaparties@yahoo.com.
Yeah, and that's even a better one to do.
We won't use your name or anything. We just want to see what the government is putting out there.
Okay, let's do a few bits and pieces.
And pieces.
Yeah, bits and pieces. Here
we got 5 minutes.
5 minutes, okay. The economy slowing down, unfortunately. I have to say, I have mixed feelings about it. I hate to see the economy slow down, but it's like almost verification and proof that Obama's whole game plan is collapsing. Unfortunately, it's collapsing on our heads.
Something. I saw something this past week. Well, what's today? Wednesday? I think I saw it over the weekend. Professor, I saw firsthand the money that other countries are making. And it made me... Countries that you would never expect to be making money, they're making tons of money. And we're being screwed down tight, like they're turning off the faucet. And we're all feeling the pain from these leaders in Washington.
Yeah.
How long are we going to take this?
Because the states is too arrogant. They're just too uppity.
Who?
We the people. So they have to teach us a lesson.
Man.
To slap us around. Let me get to a couple of things. Number one, I thought Joe Scarborough, who I'm not a big fan of.
Who?
Joe Scarborough, Morning Joe.
Who?
Yeah, right. Joe Scarborough had an interesting point. He said, if you're looking for somebody to turn around the VA, who's the person who is
those veterans free and let them go and get their own health care.
right, which they have to do now.
Now we're at a fork in the road.
Right.
Government health care, it's a dead end, literally.
It's a preview of Obamacare, by the way.
That's it.
A preview of Obamacare.
That's
What's
it.
going to happen on Obamacare.
And you know what? This whole Taliban 5 release knocked the VA problem right off the front page.
Right.
Is that what it was all about? Why now? The kid's been in captivity for 5 years helping the Taliban. Why now? Because they were getting slaughtered in the media.
By the way, I think I've identified one very significant Obama achievement. Want to know what that is?
No, not really.
Okay, here it is. He has implemented bin Laden's plan to get the United States completely out of the Middle East. He's withdrawing everybody he can from everywhere he can.
Israel will be
and
left
throwing
all by
Israel
itself.
under the bus.
Yeah.
So thank you, Obama, for implementing bin Laden's plan.
We know who you are. We know what you're doing, and we're working hard to stop you.
All right, we got 3 minutes. Let me just do one thing over here. Talking about Obama, and we can't talk about Obama without Obamacare.
Right.
Here's an interesting thing. As you know, the Oregon State Obamacare agency, right, called Cover Obama, Cover Oregon, yeah, Cover Oregon, paid $250. It cost $250 million to the taxpayers to roll out this website. They enrolled 0 number of people, 0. Now there's a federal investigation into what happened to all the money, and the director, a gentleman called Goldberg, Bruce Goldberg, was relieved of his position as the director of that. All right, so you say, well, at least we don't have to pay his salary anymore. Wrong, wrong.
Really?
Oh, yeah, wrong. So what happens? They get him out of there. He then, for a short period of time, becomes a consultant to the same program he destroyed and couldn't operate. Now, they put him back into his original position, which is the director of the Oregon Health Authority. And what's his pay? Take a guess, Jim, what his pay is.
$450,000 a year.
Well, you could be right. I didn't figure it out. It's $14,000 a month.
Well, how many months is there? 12.
So it's
by 12. You got about what? 18 linear feet.
$14,000 a month. Wow.
Times 12. What's that, like $280,000?
Well, is it $1,400 a month? It would be $14,000. So if it's
How many times?
So it's $14,000 a month. It would be what?
How much time do we got left?
$140,000.
It's gonna take me about 5 minutes to figure.
You can see, folks, we're really up. Get your computer up there.
All right, what was it? 14,000 a month.
$140,000 a month.
140,000 a month.
Oh, I'm
Salary?
sorry, $14,000 a month.
14,000
$1,000 times 12.
times 12.
We've got 1 minute.
168,000
$168,000.
a year.
This guy's still getting $168,000 for getting fired and now being investigated by the FBI.
Shoot. You know why? Because this administration.
Because it's our money. They don't care.
No, they do not admit wrongdoing.
Well, that's true.
So as soon as you fire somebody like Kathleen Supercilious, shit right within. Did she resign or got fired?
Oh, no, she was asked, no, well, isn't this one of these things where you submit your resignation and the president
And he
accepts it? Right.
Well, just like the guy from the VA.
Right.
He submitted his resignation and the hijacker accepted it.
Right.
But that's as far as they go.
Right.
Nobody gets outright fired
No.
because that admits wrongdoing.
Look, we got to get out of here, as a matter of fact. We'll be back, though, sometime. This is Liberty Action Network. This is Lunch Pail and the Professor. Have a great day. God bless.